All right, my bold blind predictions for 2025. If I were picking the winners today, this is what I'm going with. Hello, happy August, everyone. It's definitely been a minute since I've done a video, but I just wanted to come and talk Oscars because we got Venice Festival and we got TIFF coming right around the corner. And I'm going to be attending TIFF this year. Very excited to check out some of the potential Oscar contenders. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and give an updated Oscar predictions and Best Picture and give my very early predicted winners in all categories. So let's just jump right in with Best Picture, starting with the big one. I think talking about Best Picture is going to help kind of make sense of what I pick for the winners. But here's the thing. This year, I don't feel like it's been really incredibly strong so far. Like nothing's emerged out of Cannes that felt like The Zone of Interest or Anatomy of a Fall. There's not a single film that I can put on number one that feels right to me. I feel like whoever wins Best Picture will likely be a film that is yet to premiere. Initially, I felt like Sing Sing wasn't strong enough to win because it wasn't, top to bottom nomination heavy. I actually had Kinds of Kindness at number one in my last video before it screened at Cannes. Then I quickly removed it upon watching it. So as much as I would love to put anything other than Sing Sing at number one, not because I don't think it's worthy, by the way, but because I like to go on a limb. I like to do something different. But at this point, I think Sing Sing is the only film where I could see like a little pathway for it to win. So that's why I have it right now at number one. But again, I don't feel confident in Sing Sing as a front runner. Like currently, it's having that very slow rollout. It's looking to build word of mouth leading into Oscar season. It's critically well received. Deadline reported that A24 said that the film's exit scores from audiences and moviegoers are the highest that the distributor has ever recorded. So essentially, it would be like a Coda. It would be a Coda win. It's a lovable movie that comes out to theaters without anyone noticing, but will feel brand new for the voters come award season. And Coda, by the way, didn't need all those tech categories to win. It just needed those few little key categories like acting and screenplay. The recent Best Picture winners, like the last four, I think, all had 2 or 1 acting wins. Sing Sing has a chance of winning 2 categories for both Domingo and Clarence Macklin. And currently, I can't say that about any other film with certainty. So again, I'm not confident on this one. I could see this maybe miss a nomination in picture and just kind of ends up being a Spirit Awards movie kind of thing. But this movie has always felt destined to play better with the industry, kind of compared to moviegoers, like everyday moviegoers. Right now, I don't think it will win Best Picture, but I don't have a stronger case for any other film right now. And trust me, I tried to make one. I tried. I think Sing Sing is a really good film. However, literally no one outside film world is talking about this movie right now. So it's really difficult to imagine a story surrounding actors is going to connect with, everyday moviegoers. That's just kind of my biggest obstacle, in my opinion, that it's purely like an industry type movie. Number 2, that's where I have the Cannes winner, Anora. I never would have thought Sean Baker would ever be an Oscar contender, but hey, it's making a splash right now. The Florida Project makes my personal list of like the top 10 movies of the decade. I highly doubt that I'll love Anora more than Florida Project, but we'll see. I'm seeing it at TIFF. Sean Baker doesn't strike me as the usual Oscar winner. Neither did Everything Everywhere All at Once when I first saw it, but times are changing, because his films feel so small, they feel so intimate, but his work doesn't feel pretentious. So they're art house, but in a way they're quite accessible. Like the inspiration for Florida Project was The Little Rascals. So his films are always kind of artfully entertaining. So still, pretty limited in terms of nomination from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Best Director, Mikey Madison, Screenplay, maybe Editing. The reviews are great. It won Cannes, so I'm not overlooking that. But I will be honest in saying that I'm not seeing like that unanimous outpour of like extreme love that would catapult a filmmaker like Baker to like that top spot that would lead to a Best Picture. But I wouldn't say it's impossible. But yeah, we'll see once I see it at TIFF. I think I'll have a better idea of that one. But number 3, I kept Blitz. It's premiering at the London Film Festival, which I initially was concerned about. However, the film takes place in London. So if the film wanted to make a big splash, it kind of seemed like that would be a a nice little place to premiere it. What do we know about Blitz? We know that it's PG-13, it's a war movie. The film is going to be centering around a 9-year-old boy, played by a newcoming actor. He's trying to find his way home to his mother, I believe, played by Saoirse Ronan, and most likely a supporting role, I believe, like a la Scarlett Johansson and Jojo Rabbit. So I'm getting the sense that this movie is likely going to be a sizable war movie. Hans Zimmer is doing the score, so it seems sizable. So this could be like this year's Dunkirk, maybe. I don't know. Steven. I don't know. Who's this Steven? Steve McQueen is a critic's darling. Like, I think almost every single one of his films have been pretty well received. For some reason, I don't know if it can win Best Picture. I really don't, but I do see it as being like a very top-notch, high-quality film that will pick up a lot of craft nominations. That's what I'm seeing right now. It could not happen, but that's what I got going on for Blitz. Joker Folie à Deux, I got that at number 4. I wasn't even like the biggest Joker fan when it first came out, but I'm really excited to see it for some reason. It's premiering at Venice Film Festival, where one of the film festival programmers called it one of the most daring, brave, and creative films in recent American cinema, and really confirms Todd Phillips is one of the most creative directors working at this moment. Now, I know film festival programmers are supposed to hype up the movies, but it sounds pretty gushing. And what do we know about the movie? We know it's going to be kind of like a dystopian musical of sorts. It's going to be maybe like some dark, twisted version of something like The Red Shoes, it looks like. Either way, the hype for this movie is massive, and I think it's going to create a big splash that's going to outweigh maybe all the obstacles of, like, you know, it being a sequel and whatever. So I have a feeling that Joker's going to do really well. That's why I have it at number 4. Dune 2, I have it at number 5. Assuming it's going to be remembered by the end of the year, I think it'll be just fine. I think a lot of craft people will keep this movie alive. It's funny though, like we had a film that people were calling one of the best science fiction movies ever, and right now it's like kind of questionable about its Oscar prospects. But we'll see how to go. That's the fall season. The fall season's going to come in, new shiny toys come out, and then the old toys end up on the floor like, Woody and Buzz. The first one did so well, though. I don't imagine that we go from such a high to like complete dismissal. So we'll have to see. Also, Furiosa was seen as kind of like a disappointment at the box office, so that kind of opens the door more for Dune, in my opinion. So yeah, Dune at number 5. All right, number 6, I have what Luca Guadagnino is calling his most personal film, called Queer. And speaking of Red Shoes earlier, he said that this is a tribute to those films of Powell and Pressburger. Queer is going to be premiering at the Venice Film Festival. The Venice programmer listed Queer as one of the films that the Academy may give a liking to along with Joker, and the artistic director said, Queer is one of the most fearless, inventive, and surprising films, one that brings its subcultural world to brilliant life and creates the role of a lifetime for a tremendous Daniel Craig. So that sounds pretty good. It's the same writer of Challengers, which honestly I still think is my favorite film of this year. Not that that has any relevancy here, but I just wanted to mention it. And then when you got Daniel Craig giving a performance that is very rumored to be excellent, sometimes you can feel like narratives form around someone even before like a trailer drops. Like I feel like that happened with Brendan Fraser in The Whale. Like I feel like I'm seeing that a little bit with Craig right now. Ultimately, I just trust Luca, and I think that it looks closest to the project that put him originally on the Oscar map with Call Me By Your Name. And also, I think Challengers might kind of help prop up this film because, the Academy will consider this one maybe a little bit more prestigious. So number 7, that's where I got Conclave. The trailer I thought looked freaking great. I heard the book is pretty good. It has a good twist ending from what I understand that gets people talking. It's going to be premiering at TIFF, which I believe All Quiet on the Western Front did as well. It's got a November release. The cast is stellar, has several previously nominated actors. Isabel Rossellini really stood out to me in the trailer. So I could see this being like this year's like Two Popes, or maybe this year's even Anatomy of a Fall or Spotlight. It's like a thriller. And I think Berger will perhaps maybe elevate the material to give it like a nice eloquent touch. So I'm really looking forward to Conclave a lot. I think after watching the trailer, I felt like I was like, I want that. I want that right now. I want it in my belly. That's weird. So yeah, this could be a thing, or it could just be like a nice thriller, but not Oscars. So I don't know. I'm seeing a TIFF in about a month. I'll probably know as soon as I see it. And number 8, that's why I got Nickel Boys. So what do we know about Nickel Boys? We know that it's based off the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel. This surrounds a story around students who are abused in the 1960s. So it's going to be very, very heavy material. It's estimated to have a $23 million budget. So it's a sizable budget. For context, 12 Years a Slave, I believe, was like around $20 million. So this is a good-sized budget. You have the director, Ramel Ross. This is his narrative film debut. He's made one documentary that was nominated for an Academy Award a couple of years ago. It's going to be opening at the New York Film Festival. Previous opening night films at that film festival have been, May, December, White Noise, The Tragedy of Macbeth. All of them were not Oscar nominees, but Irishman premiered, I believe, at New York Film Festival, and that was an Oscar nominee. So I could see this being kind of like maybe Till, like a very heart-wrenching experience that's maybe too heavy for Academy voters. But I could also see this being like Women Talking, a film also distributed by MGM. So I'm feeling hopeful about this one. I heard the novel is very powerful, but also like very heavy. And the artistic director of the New York Film Festival called it the most audacious American movie I have seen in some time. And he said the director expands the possibilities of visual language. So this might be a little bit more artistic than we were initially imagining, or I was at least. So it's a bit of a question mark for me, but I have a feeling it's going to be good. I'm not quite getting a sense of whether the Academy will go for it, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a well-received movie. All right, number 9. That's where I got A Complete Unknown. This is the Bob Dylan biopic directed by James Mangold, starring Timmy Chalamet. It's weird, man. I feel like last week there was just some BTS photos of them filming on the street, and now, boom, a trailer's already out. Quick. One could say Fox Searchlight is really trying to make sure this movie is ready to qualify for the Oscars because they believe in it. But honestly, this could just be like Fox Searchlight seeing that Wonka money, and it's trying to duplicate that success by releasing it in November. The trailer was a pretty good surprise, though. I thought it was pretty good. And if there's one thing that was clear from the comment section of that trailer is that people really love Bob Dylan. And immediately it seemed like they were impressed and pretty embracive of what Chalamet was doing in there. So yeah, I'm feeling like pretty good about that one. And number 10, I have a film that I cannot let go of. It's a freaking long shot. I got Night Bitch. So what do we know? What's the latest about Night Bitch? Well, we have some stills. We got Amy Adams running with dogs. She's in a sandbox with dogs. She's staring at the sky. Okay, sure. The story surrounds Amy Adams playing a mother who thinks she's turning into a dog. Amy Adams is going to be honored at TIFF. She's going to be given an award. Previous honorees of that same award were, like Coleman Domingo and Jessica Chastain, Joaquin Phoenix, Anthony Hopkins. So interesting little crossover there. From my understanding, this is going to be a live action version of something like, it sounds like Turning Red. Like obviously how like that character was turning into a giant red panda because it was like a metaphor for like a teenager girl experiencing puberty. Vanity Fair reported that this was going to be a metaphor on the transformative aspects of motherhood and premenopause. So it's got a zingy title, Night Bitch. It's great. Flows right off the tongue. Night Bitch. I can say it all day. Night Bitch. She's a night bitch. Night bitch. Get out of here, you night. Get out. No, go. You night bitch. All right, that's enough of Night Bitch. But it's premiering at TIFF, which I think is a suitable place to premiere. Director Marianne Heller calls this film a comedy for women and a horror movie for men. So I imagine there's going to be some body horror stuff going on. The only thing, the cinematographer, it's the guy who did Sonic the Hedgehog. That was my initial concern, and it's still my biggest concern. I've already seen people already knocking how the original stills look like, but we'll have to see. Originally, it looks like it was supposed to be just on Hulu, but it was announced that it was going to be actually released by Fox Searchlight in theaters in December. I'm getting the sense that they originally thought this movie would be like a fun little wacky movie to put on Hulu, but maybe Marianne put her own little artistic stamp on it, and now they kind of don't know how to market the movie. So I don't know. Ultimately, it's a wild card. I could see it being kind of like the promising young woman of this year, or maybe like a 52 on Metacritic. Taking a chance on it. Night Bitch. All right, moving on to quickly talk about some other contenders, and then we'll predict those winners. So number 11, that's where I have Saturday Night. That's his Jason Reitman's film. We just got a trailer on it. It's about the true stories of what happened behind the scenes 90 minutes before SNL's first broadcast. This is being scheduled to release in October. It's rumored to show up at TIFF. It's rumored to have screened very positively with audiences. The cast is pretty stacked. People are going to be portraying SNL cast members like John Belushi and Chevy Chase, Gilda Radner and Lorne Michaels. I'm under the assumption that obviously there's going to be a lot of crazy chaos leading up to SNL going live, and I think the film's going to kind of reflect that kind of crazy energy. That's what at least I got from the trailer, and it looks, very like I'm hearing the word Birdman being thrown around for this film. So yeah, for some reason I'm getting kind of like also like Adam McKay Oscar vibes from this one. It's not necessarily like important subject matter, but it's about showbiz, and it's about a historic television show. So yeah. Number 12, Gladiator 2, the trailer dropped. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks fantastic. Genuinely, I don't think I've been this excited for a Ridley Scott movie in a very long time. I feel like his films have also looked kind of dull of late, and like color grade wise, but this one looks really crunchy. It looks freaking great. We have a freaking rhino in the trailer, guys. We have a rhino. Denzel Washington looks like he's having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun watching him. It's Ridley Scott, so we have to temper our excitement, but Ridley Scott has said that it's more extraordinary than the first, so I don't imagine the screenplay will be like a highlight. This is from the writer who wrote Napoleon and All the Money in the World. It played Kanye in the trailer, but $250 million, they got to market the movie to a young crowd. I have a feeling this is going to be like Scott's best Oscar performance, I think, since The Martian. And I think box office wise, I think it's going to smash it. So fingers crossed that this turns out good. I would love to see Gladiator 2 do well. All right, number 13, I got The Room Next Door, Pedro Almodovar's next film set in New York. It's his first English language film. We have an image with Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore. It's going to be premiering in competition at the Venice Film Festival. It's playing at the New York Film Festival, where the artistic director said, and I quote, "Room Next Door is the work of an artist at the height of his powers, a wise, exquisitely acted, and achingly beautiful film that feels perfectly calibrated for this moment." I have this pretty high up there because Pedro's always been a friend of the Academy to a certain degree. He's racked up quite a few previous nominations, never quite cracked the Best Picture lineup. This is his first English language film, and what Tilda has assured, this is a real Almodovar film. That blend of kind of old Academy and new Academy with this like continually growing international voting group. I think this one can sneak in there as our like international pick, and something that kind of bridges that new and old Academy. Especially if it wins Golden Lion, then it's like woo, we're back. I'm excited to see it. All right, moving faster. The Siege of Sacred Fig. It got a massive standing ovation at Cannes. If there's an Anatomy of a Fall this year that did emerge from Cannes, it sounds like Sacred Fig was it. It's, I think, a 3-hour-long family drama involving Iran's strict legal system and kind of what it does to the human psyche. It's being compared to other Iranian films like A Separation. There's actually a little like side narrative with the director who's being targeted by Iranian authorities because of the content of his films. So it's currently receiving terrific reviews. It's being hailed as that key word, like important. It's going to be at TIFF, so it's doing like that little festival tour. So we could manage to see it get in there. All right, number 15. I have Joshua Oppenheimer's narrative debut here. This is one that for some reason I just have an inkling is going to be a huge surprise. For some unexplained reason. It's being distributed by Neon. It's an apocalyptic musical film. It's about a wealthy family living in an underground bunker 2 decades after the end of the world that they directly contributed to. It's listed currently to screen at TIFF as a Canadian premiere. So it is expected to, I believe, pop up at Telluride. I think we're going to get some commentary that, pokes fun at the rich, the type of thing the Academy occasionally pretends to enjoy, but have no idea that they're like the type of people that the movie is commentating on, like Triangle of Sadness or something. If right now the odds were like 1 in 20 to be nominated for Best Picture, I'd put $50 down on that bet. It's just this weird hunch I have. It could be completely wrong, but something is bound to surprise at this film festival that we weren't originally seeing, and maybe this is the one. Number 16, that's where I have Emilia Perez. I'm currently seeing this pretty high on people's list. Maybe, I assume because it's Netflix's big movie, it won the jury prize, or one of the jury prizes at Cannes. It's playing again at TIFF. I'm sure you're all aware of this one already, but this is a narco thriller merged with a pop opera musical drama. To me, the reviews are solid, but it's not exceptional enough to give me the confidence that this is going in. But I heard it's very fun, so it could be a passion pick. I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm kind of skeptical on it right now. I kind of feel like, I'm gonna have to see that to believe that one. All right, number 17, that's where I have a real pain. This is really here because I see Kieran Culkin winning potentially Best Supporting Actor for his performance. So if he's potentially winning there, then maybe the movie comes along with a nomination. I think Culkin in screenplay is what it's most likely to get nominated for. The film is pretty nuanced. It's not emotionally obvious. So I'm thinking maybe its best day could be like a Past Lives. Like Culkin is most likely, screenplay second, and then maybe Best Picture kind of swoops in with it in a very Past Lives-y kind of way. All right, 18. I had to drop this down from my number 10. I have Mike Leigh's Hard Truths. It's making its premiere, I believe, at TIFF. I saw in Oscar experts' videos that there's rumors that it was actually rejected at Cannes and Venice. So that's kind of concerning if that's true. I don't know what's going on with it. It's very hard for me to believe the rumors about it being rejected anywhere because Leigh is a master filmmaker, but if that's true, that is concerning. TIFF does feel like an odd place to premiere the film, but maybe it's broader in style than expected. And it's also screening at the New York Film Festival. So I don't really know what to think about Hard Truths right now. I know the story surrounds Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who's a working class woman whose life is in a free fall, experiencing a lot of rage and affecting the relationships in her life. So it was originally slated for, I think, October. Now, I think I saw an announcement that they're going to do a very late release, potentially limited in December and wide in January. It's Bleecker Street. Maybe they just don't know what they're doing strategically. I don't know. Dying to see it, but I have no idea what's going on with this movie. And then number 19, I have Challengers. I'm putting this back on the list. The movie is so good. It had a little cultural moment where, a lot of even normies went to go watch it. Released pretty early, though. It isn't being pushed as an awards player from what it seems like. But maybe it gets some Golden Globes love for Zendaya, and maybe it gets a new life when screened for awards groups later, especially if a lot of these these fall film premieres just don't hit. Number 20, that's where I have The Piano Lesson, part of the August Wilson canon. Ma Rainey didn't crack the best 10. Vince's did. I'm just getting major Rustin vibes with it. Maybe Samuel L. Jackson gets in, but maybe that's just it. All right, number 21, that's where I have The Brutalist. This is going to be premiering at Venice Film Festival. It's directed by Brady Corbett, whose previous films haven't done anything at the Oscars. So I just don't know exactly whether I should put all my chips on this one. The material, though, is Oscar friendly, and the New York Film Festival on their website called this a towering vision about a World War II survivor reconstructing their life in America. It's 215 minutes, over 3.5 hours. So it sounds like it's really swinging for the fences with this one. Very intrigued. This could be maybe this year's zone of interest. Number 21, Nosferatu. Why not? From the trailer, costume design and the production design, it looks great. Edgar's, he isn't really an Oscar thing, but Nosferatu is a classic. I wouldn't be shocked if Edgar's finally breaks through with this one, but I would be less shocked if they totally ignore it. And number 22, I got His Three Daughters. This has potential acting nominations, potential screenplay nomination. Netflix is pushing it. It's small, though. It is small. It's one location, essentially. Natasha Lyonne is great in it. It's a long shot, but Netflix doesn't really have many movies this year, so maybe this becomes one of their bigger movies to push. All right, number 23, I got Maria. It's premiering at Venice. I could see Jolie make it in, but to be completely honest, I'm not really a big believer that this could get a picture. Maybe like score, cinematography, but I just can't imagine a Pablo Larraín film being a #1 film on many people's ballots enough to get a Best Picture nominee. So maybe this is the one though. But number 24, Didi. It's already out in theaters. It won Sundance audience. 8th Grade made like 14 million. I don't think Didi has even cracked 1 million yet. So it is going to be expanding, I think, on the 16th of this month. So we'll see how it does box office wise. It essentially kind of needs to be a hit to get an Oscar notice on this one. And it doesn't look like it's going to make enough money to really turn the eyes of the voters. So number 25, we have We Live in Time. Trailer looks good. Pretty good. It's A24, director of Brooklyn. Not getting, massive Oscar vibes from the trailer, but, it's A24. It's got Andrew Garfield in it. So it's got to be on the table. Number 27, All We Imagine as Light. From what I gathered, I heard this would probably be more likely a international film possibility, but we'll see. And 28, I'm holding on to Furiosa. I probably shouldn't even have it on the list. It's sadly just seen as a box office misfire. The first one did so well that maybe the below the line craft categories loves it more than America did. Number 29, I got Jury Number 2, Clint Eastwood film. Heard rumors that the script was fantastic. It has a great cast. Eastwood, though, is like 95 now. I think he's like around 95. And God bless him, but, he's not the most detailed-oriented director from what I hear in his later years. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have faith that this will get in. Number 30, I have Women of the Hour. I put this on the list because I think there's maybe like a really outside chance that SAG will really connect with some of the themes in the film. It's screened at TIFF. It's being distributed by Netflix. I can imagine Netflix will release some like complimentary documentary with the film. And it did decent with critics. And Anna Kendrick did a pretty good job directing it. So yeah, why not? And then, yeah, you'll notice I don't have here the Zemeckis film. I don't have Wicked just because I don't think those will get nominated. That's as simple as that. Okay, those are my kind of current predictions for Best Picture. Now it's the time that I make my very early Oscar predictions in all categories. And last year, in the beginning of July, a good 8 months before the Oscars, even before Oppenheimer came out in theaters, I somehow predicted that Cillian Murphy would win Best Actor. I predicted that Christopher Nolan would win Director. Zone of Interest for International, I predicted that. And I also said that 20 Days in Marypool would win Best Documentary. It sounds impressive, but I also missed every other category because a certain movie called Dune 2 wanted to push itself to the next year, so it tanked my early predictions in so many different categories. But I'm over it. But now it's time to make my very blind, bold, early predicted winners for the 2025 Oscars. We need an atmosphere change. All right, my bold, blind predictions for 2025. If I were picking the winners today, this is what I'm going with. Usually, I think a few films could win Best Picture. This year, nothing is really popping out to me. I think Sing Sing could win because there is a pathway, but right now, Sing Sing is listed #1 on Gold Derby. Sing Sing is a type of film that wins when it's not a clear frontrunner. But being a clear early frontrunner makes it feel kind of destined to fall. A few other possibilities for me here. Anora could be like this year's Future of Cinema pick. Another movie I'm considering is Conclave, as maybe this year's kind of like Spotlight. Or Blitz for being a technically impressive film. It's hard. I feel like Sing Sing is the safe pick. I was this close. Let me tell you, I was that close to going with a super crazy choice, wild card, and saying Joshua Oppenheimer's the end. I should just say Sing Sing, but I want to have some fun. So I'm going to go unconfidently with Blitz. All right, Best Actress. I have a few options here. I got Angelina Jolie for Maria. I got Saoirse Ronan in The Outrun, playing an alcoholic. It's very Oscar-y. She's overdue. What I'm really bouncing between though is Lady Gaga for the Joker 2 and Amy Adams for Night Bitch. Ultimately, I'm going for it. I'm going for Amy Adams for Night Bitch with an overdue and return to form narrative, Amy Adams. All right, Best Actor. There's a few I'm bouncing between here. I got Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing, Timmy Chalamet for that Bob Dylan movie. Then you got Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Joaquin Phoenix for the Joker. I mean, this year is stacked. So many good options, but ultimately, I'm gonna go with Daniel Craig in Queer, and I'm not gonna even think a second about it. Guadagnino knows how to get good performances from his actors, so I'm gonna go with Daniel Craig, Queer. Best Supporting Actress. There's a few options here I'm bouncing between. Anjanou Ellis and Nickel Boys. We got Daniel Deadweiler in Piano Lesson. Maybe it's kind of like a, sorry we didn't nominate you last time, but here's an Oscar. But I'm gonna go with another overdue actress, Saoirse Ronan, for Blitz to help justify my Best Picture pick. And maybe her performance in The Outrun kind of just helps get her the win here. So I'm going with Saoirse Ronan in Blitz. Best Supporting Actor, Samuel L. Jackson is on the table for Piano Lesson, but my mind is just giving me a vision that for some reason it's going to be a race between Kieran Culkin and Clarence Macklin. And ultimately, I'm going to predict Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, actually. The film is all about actors, and I think giving an Oscar to someone who embodies the message of the film just seems kind of right for me. So Clarence Macklin for Best Supporting Actor. Best Director. So I'm going to play it safer here. If Sing Sing wins Picture, I do not think Director comes along with it. I'm considering Denis Villeneuve for Dune 2 as a kind of like that technical achievement. Sean Baker is kind of on the table, but I'm going to match up my picture with Director and just say Steve McQueen. All right, Best Original Screenplay. Okay, I think Anora might be the winner here. Perhaps That Early Night, or maybe like very small chance of A Real Pain. The End is something I'm considering because it sounds very original. I was close to putting it in Picture, but I think it's gonna be maybe between Blitz or Anora. So I'm gonna go with my boy Sean Baker. I'm gonna say he wins here. This is where they award him for Anora. All right, Best Adapted Screenplay. I could see a few possibilities here. I mean, if Sing Sing wins Best Picture, I have to imagine this takes Screenplay. You know, maybe Nickel Boys ends up being a huge contender, or Conclave. It really kind of depends on who the Best Picture contenders are. I'm gonna go with Justin Kuritzkis and Queer, as I kind of feel like it could be a Call Me By Your Name repeat where it took Screenplay, so I'm gonna go with Justin Kuritzkis for Queer. Okay, Best Cinematography. So I could see a world where perhaps Joker Folie à Deux wins here. The color in the trailer just looks fantastic to me. Dune 2 could be a contender again, especially if it wins director, but I don't want to get too heavy on Dune this time like I did last year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to predict and match it up with director for Blitz. Okay, Best Film Editing. Just give it to Challengers. Will you please just give it to Challengers? I know that won't happen. You know, this is usually a very action-heavy category. I know Blitz will have some bombings in the film, and it's told from different perspectives, so maybe Blitz, you know, it's kind of pretty similar to last year's Oppenheimer. It could be Saturday Night, kind of how Adam McKay movies did so well in editing, you know, just has this kind of rhythm to it. I think I'm just gonna stick with Dune 2 here. All right, Best Costume Design. Gladiator 2, Dune, Joker Folie à Deux, Maria, Wicked. This is usually a very period piece or fantasy-based category. The first Dune did not win this category on its first round, so I'm really bouncing between Dune and Wicked, but I don't want to give Wicked anything. Let's just go with Dune 2 for best costumes. Yeah, locking it in. All right, best makeup. You know, nothing's really standing out as like an obvious contender to me. Maybe it's Dune 2. Maybe that's probably the most likely, but I'm actually gonna go for Nosferatu here. I'm going for it, Nosferatu. All right, best production design. Blitz could be a contender. You know, Gladiator 2 kind of showcasing the Coliseum. I think it won the first Gladiator in this category. I think this could be another category where maybe the N gets in if it's kind of like how I envision it in my head, but I'm gonna play it safe with just Dune Part 2. The world building, I mean, I don't know if anyone's gonna be able to do it better than what they created in Dune 2, so let's just go with Dune Part 2. All right, best original score. I think this category is pretty stacked. I mean, that Challenger score is so fun. Maybe Queer. Conclave could be a contender here. You know, maybe having a nice, like, kind of suspensefully score. Hildor is back with Joker 2, so maybe her. Maybe Saturday Night wins, like that Birdman-esque kind of score. I don't know. I probably shouldn't go against Zimmer, but Joker 2 is going to have, like, some musical elements to it. I think a lot of attention is going to be given to the score, so let's go with Joker Folie à Deux, best score. All right, best original song. Honestly, what is there to go at this point? I don't know. If Gaga has a song in Joker, I think it's the safest pick to go with Gaga. So I'm going to go with Lady Gaga for a song probably called Joker Face. All right, best animated feature. Now, I have to be careful here. Last year, The Boy and the Heron surprised in this category. Many are going for Wild Robot, but I'm actually going to just, I think, go with the safer option with Inside Out 2. All right, best documentary feature. It's so hard to predict documentary this early. The three that stand out to me is Daughters, Sugarcane, and Black Box Diaries. The one I hear about a lot is Daughters. I haven't seen it. You know, there's another film called Will and Harper, but I don't know if the documentary branch is likely to nominate it. Sugarcane sounds kind of important, but I'm just gonna go with the one I hear about, the one by Netflix, Daughters, a film that's gonna kind of tug at people's heartstrings. So Daughters, best documentary. All right, best international feature. I don't know why, but something in me is telling me that Emilia Perez is not going to even be nominated for best international. But I assume that if it's in, it's most likely going to win based on what I heard. So I'm gonna go with Emilia Perez for best international feature. All right, sound. So we got Blitz, we got Joker 2, we got Gladiator 2, we got Dune Part 2, we got a lot of 2s, and we got Furiosa, which is kind of like another 2. Yeah, I think Dune Part 2 just feels like the safer bet here, so I'm gonna go with Dune Part 2 and sound. God, I hope I'm not giving too much to Dune Part 2. All right, and for best visual effects, I feel like this is the one I feel almost most confident that Dune Part 2 will likely win in this category. Dune Part 2 visual effects. Predictions are locked in. Those are my official blind bold predictions for 2025. All right, well, those are my blind bold predictions for 2025. I'm going to try to get a guest on here to do an update of these predictions after TIFF and Venice, and kind of go through all the predictions and all the different categories. Let me know in the comment section below what guests you would like to see me collaborate with, and also comment below what your predicted winners for next year's Oscars are, or give me like one blind bold prediction that you're making for next year. I mean, it's so early, there's no wrong answer. And just a reminder, I'm going to be reviewing a lot of these films at TIFF and giving you what I think its Oscar prospects are. So feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I don't tweet a lot, I'll be honest, but I do Instagram. So follow me down below, links in the bio. Thanks always for watching, and until next time, I will see you at the Oscars.